Responding to emergencies. Identifying measures to be taken in emergency situations. If you fall into the water, keep your clothes on. Keep as much of your body out of the water as possible. Climb onto the boat or onto a floating object if there's one nearby. Huddle with other people if there are two or more. If alone, adopt the heat escape lessening position. The acronym is called HELP, in order to keep your vital organs at the highest temperatures possible. If you're in a group, make sure that no one is missing. Overturned and submerged. Depending on the circumstances, do the following. Ensure that everyone is wearing a PFD or a life jacket. Keep as close to the craft as possible depending on the circumstances. Do a head count of those who were on board. Use or display the signals to show distress or need of assistance. Malfunction or breakdown of the pleasure craft. Take the following steps depending on the circumstances. Alter the speed of the craft. Anchor the craft. Investigate the problem. Correct the problem if possible. Or use or exhibit signals to show distress and need of help. The operator should service and maintain the pleasure craft and its equipment on a regular basis to make sure that they work properly at all times, thus reducing the probability of breakdowns.
Recovering a person who has fallen overboard. As soon as someone notices that a person has fallen overboard, the person must sound the alarm and immediately become the lookout, which means to keep sight of the person who has fallen overboard. Another person will throw something buoyant with a buoyant heaving line. The pleasure craft operator must close in on the person who has fallen overboard, while at the same time slowing down. The operator will approach the person on the windward side. The operator will shut down the motors as soon as the person has grasped the line, and recover the person overboard with a reboarding device or a lifting harness. To ensure the safety of the pleasure craft's passengers, it is important to inform each passenger of where the safety equipment is stored on board, each one's task during an emergency, and the movement of the pleasure craft. Furthermore, it is important to practice the safety procedures so that the passengers may become familiar with them. In the case of a real emergency, their chances of survival will increase dramatically.
Leaking hull or flooding. First, find the source of the leak. Is it in the hull or other sources of other flooding? Is there a breach in the hull? Is it a hose that's leaking? Is it an underwater device such as an engine water cooling system compromised? Is the bail plug in? Once you've discovered where the water is entering the vessel, stop the leak or the source of the flooding if possible. If there's a breach in the hull below the waterline, use anything at hand to plug the hole. A piece of wood, a blanket, duct tape, anything in order to close that hole. If it's a crack that's caused by hitting a rock, you can also use epoxy that hardens underwater. If the hole is under the waterline, you must heel or incline the boat in order to get the damaged area out of the water. When the water leak has been controlled, bail the accumulated water from the bilge or other compartments of the pleasure craft by using bailers, manual pumps, or bilge pumps. Use or show distress signals to advise that you are in need of assistance. If necessary, use channel 16 with a Mayday, Mayday signal and use flares. The pleasure craft operator must always carry on board a full hull repair kit and tools. Temporary repair will ensure sufficient time in order to get back to shore and thus controlling any excess flooding.